How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be reviewing the newest album from one of my favorite bands, Citizen. This is their third full-length studio album, and I could not be more excited. This was probably my most anticipated album of 2017, and boy did they deliver. If you guys are not familiar with the band Citizen, they are an emo, alt-rock, grunge type band, and they've pretty much grown up a lot with every single release that they have put out. I got into this band with their first album, Youth, about 2 years ago when I actually discovered it, and I could still probably call that one of my favorite albums of all time easily. And I enjoyed their sophomore effort as well, but it did fall a little bit short for me in certain ways. The band kind of went in a different direction, more grungy and like a little bit heavier and just different overall. They were doing a lot of experimenting, like I said, with some grungier undertones and even some yelling, and it worked a lot of the time, but sometimes it just was a little bit too much for me. But with their latest release on As You Please, we see the band combining the best from both of those albums and creating something absolutely fantastic. And I'm also really proud to say that I do not regret pre-ordering this. I had a lot of faith in them, and they came through with a really enjoyable, moody fall album. We see Citizen maturing and just moving forward with that emo, grungy sound, but in a more polished and less angsty manner. And the guitar and bass in this thing are just the backbone of this album. They really hit so hard. And I think it's safe to say that they kind of found their sweet spot and have mastered their craft with what they actually want to do here with their music. The band's writing has improved a lot on this record as well, because I feel like the lyrics are just less straightforward, you know? There's definitely a lot more substance here, some deeper meanings, metaphors, and just more complexity overall that kind of leaves me wondering what these songs are actually about. You know, in their past songs, especially early on in their career, it was pretty easy to tell what they were talking about, being depressed, going through a breakup, that sort of stuff, just like sad emo kid things. But lately their writing is a lot more interesting and just kind of harder to dissect, and I like a challenge when it comes to lyrics, so props to Citizen there. So let's go back to the beginning here. The first single that they actually released was Jet, which is the first song on the album, and I instantly fell in love with this track the first like few seconds I heard it. I knew this album was gonna kill it. And that's still one of my top favorites from this album because it is such a jam, you know? I feel like it's one of those songs that, like, if you were gonna be introducing one of your friends who had never heard of this band before to some of their music, you're gonna give them like the most awesome songs by this band that they just need to hear. This song is gonna be on that list. Overall, this is a very haunting and almost eerie record, and while it doesn't sound like the band brand new, I'm getting similar feelings to the ones that I get when I listen to albums like The Devil and God Are Raging Inside Me and even Science Fiction in their newest album. And that's because this album is very melancholy, and we see that on songs like In the Middle of It All, where Matt is actually kind of changing his voice up and giving us some higher notes, which we haven't really seen too much of in the past. That style of like the high notes and the lower notes mixed together all throughout really do bring that vibe. There's a song on this album called Fever Days that really caught me off guard, and that's because of this misleading intro that has just this really pretty twinkling guitar that honestly, when I first heard it, it made me feel like I was listening to a song from Matt Carrick's solo album Luna. And then suddenly this heavy guitar and bass pairing just coming out of nowhere and lead into this aggressive but passionate chorus delivery. It does return back to that twinkling guitar a few times throughout the song. They're both elements here equally, and that fact just makes this song stick out to me for sure. It's very memorable. Now, my favorite track on As You Please by far is definitely the song World, which I feel like is about kind of being numb to everything around you, maybe? Depersonalization, perhaps? It just seems like you're going through life and everything's happening around you, but it doesn't really affect you. You're not really like living and experiencing anything, you're just kind of there. Now, I'm not entirely sure on that meaning, but that's just what I'm picking up from these lines. This song sounds absolutely incredible to me. I love Matt's growl that says, "Do you wonder?" He just kind of belts that out, and then in the background we get these voices that kind of sound like moaning ghosts that just have this pain in their voices, and it really creates this haunting vibe to the track, and I cannot get enough. This has quickly become one of my favorite Citizen songs of all time. I seriously cannot get over it. It's so good. I just can't get over how impressed I am with how good Matt sounds on this record. He's hitting so many higher notes and just really putting his vocal cords to the test, and he's passing, obviously. Discreet Routine exhibits that perfectly. I actually remember saying in a video back in January, I think, when I was talking about albums that I hoped to come out in 2017, and I wanted Citizen to make one, and I actually remember saying that I hope they do stuff similar to what Matt did on his solo album that's more slower, but like more produced, not acoustic. And Discreet Routine is exactly that, you know? It's slow paced, but it has some really cool components to it. It's soft and comforting, but just gets heavier and more intense as the song goes on. It's brilliant. You're probably wondering, do I have any problems with this album? And I'll tell you the one problem I do have. The main problem I have is the one song that I just don't really like on this album, and that is the title track, As You Please. It's my least favorite song here just because it feels kind of boring to me. It doesn't really go anywhere, and I'm normally a fan of chill stuff like this, but I don't know, something about this just isn't keeping my attention. It's very repetitive and just kind of drags on, and I want to skip it. And that's really my only big complaint with this album, but I do want to compliment one of the lyrics here that says, "Drown in my veins, I am yours forever." That is like actually me. John, did I write that? Now, I really didn't want this to be track by track, but I've talked about a lot of these songs individually, but there's just one more that I really want to highlight on, and that is the bass heavy I Forgive No One, which has this muted background screaming in it, and it just creates this really cool, unique sound overall to the song. And that aspect really made this song stick out to me, and it also reminds me a lot of their last album. Anyways, I'm really enjoying this newest work from the band Citizen, and I hope you all check it out if you haven't already. You can tell that they put a lot of time and effort into this, and the wait paid off. This is one of my favorite albums of 2017 easily. With that said, congrats to Citizen on this new album, and of course Will Yip as well, because he nails it on production every single time. My favorite songs on this album are World, Jet, I Forgive No One, Fever Days, and Medicine. Let me know what you guys thought of this record down in the comments section below, and leave a like on this video if you did enjoy the review, and if you're new here, hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.